In 2025, God will send help from Zion. Let us begin with a simple truth that is as timeless as it is profound. God is faithful. Wherever you are reading this, whatever situation you find yourself in, I want you to hear these words as if they are coming straight from the throne room of heaven. In 2025, God will send help from Zion. Yes, my dear friend, help is on the way. You may not see it yet, but I assure you it is coming, and it is coming with power, precision, and purpose. The psalmist declared in Psalm chapter 20 verse 2, "May he send you help from the sanctuary and support you from Zion." Zion in the Bible often represents the dwelling place of God, the seat of his authority, and the source of his divine intervention. When help comes from Zion, it is not ordinary help. It is supernatural, unstoppable, and undeniable. It is the kind of help that turns your mourning into dancing, your sorrow into joy, and your trials into triumphs. Now, I know some of you may feel weary. Maybe you are looking at your life and asking, when will things change? When will the promises of God manifest? My brother, my sister, do not give up. The same God who delivered the Israelites from Pharaoh's grip and parted the Red Sea is the God who will step into your situation in 2025. He has not forgotten you. He has not overlooked you. His plans for you are still good, and his promises remain sure. Let us take a moment to look at the life of Joseph. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely accused. For years, it seemed as though his dreams were buried under the weight of injustice. But in Genesis chapter 41, God elevated Joseph from the prison to the palace in a single day. What seemed impossible suddenly became reality because God sent help at the appointed time. If he did it for Joseph, he will do it for you. Let me ask you this. What dreams have you put on the shelf because you thought they were impossible? What prayers have you stopped praying because the wait felt too long? Child of God, pick up those dreams again. Dust off those prayers. In 2025, help will come from Zion, and what seemed dead will come alive. Do you remember when David stood before Goliath? By all human accounts, David should have been defeated. But David understood something powerful. His help did not come from his own strength or skill. He boldly proclaimed in 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 45, "You come to me with a sword and spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts." And with one smooth stone, the giant fell. Let me tell you, the giants in your life will fall too, not because of who you are, but because of who God is. This is not just encouragement. This is prophetic declaration. God is sending help to you. Help for your family. Help for your finances. Help for your health. Help for your mind. Help for your calling. And when he sends help, it will be abundantly clear that it is his hand at work. The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20 that God is able to do exceedingly, abundantly above all that we ask or think. Are you ready to see the exceeding abundance of God in your life? There is a night I cannot easily forget. The night that changed everything, sitting on my weathered living room floor, surrounded by past due bills and unanswered messages. It was 2019, and my world had crumbled into pieces I couldn't seem to put back together. My marriage had ended, I'd lost my job at the firm, and even my closest friends had drifted away during my spiral. The silence in that apartment was deafening. That evening, with nothing left to lose, I found myself doing something I hadn't done since childhood. I prayed. Not the polite, rehearsed prayers I'd mumbled in church, but the raw, desperate kind that comes from a truly broken spirit. If you're really there, I whispered into the darkness, I need you. I can't do this alone anymore. What happened next still gives me goosebumps when I think about it. The crushing weight of anxiety that had been my constant companion suddenly lifted, replaced by a warmth that felt like being wrapped in a familiar blanket. There was no booming voice, no dramatic sign, just an inexplicable certainty that I wasn't alone. Within a month, my old mentor reached out with a job opportunity. By summer, I'd reconnected with my estranged sister, and slowly, piece by piece, my life began taking a shape better than I could have planned. Looking back now, that rock bottom moment wasn't the end, it was the foundation for everything good that followed. I share this not because I have all the answers, but because I've walked through the darkness and found light on the other side. Sometimes our lowest points are simply preparing us for our greatest breakthroughs. But let me ask you this: will you believe? Will you hold on to the promises of God, even when it looks like nothing is happening? Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 tells us, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Faith is not about what you can see. It is about trusting the God who sees everything. I prophesy that 2025 will be a year of sudden shifts. Do you feel it too? Some of you have been toiling for years, planting seeds, praying, fasting, and waiting. God is saying, your harvest is coming. Like Elijah on Mount Carmel, who prayed for rain even when the sky was clear, you must hold onto your faith. Elijah kept sending his servant to look for a cloud, and on the seventh time, a small cloud appeared. That small cloud brought an abundance of rain. Your small cloud is on the horizon, and it will bring an outpouring like you have never seen. And let us not forget the power of worship. In Acts chapter 16, Paul and Silas were imprisoned. Their situation seemed hopeless. But instead of complaining, they prayed and sang hymns to God. Suddenly, there was an earthquake and their chains fell off. Friend, your worship is a weapon. In 2025, let your praises rise like never before. When you worship, you create an atmosphere for God's power to manifest. Now, let us talk about Jesus. When he walked on earth, he was the ultimate source of help. He healed the sick, fed the hungry, and raised the dead. But the greatest help he gave was through his death and resurrection. On the cross, he defeated sin, death, and every power of darkness. In John chapter 19 verse 30, Jesus said, "It is finished." Whatever you are facing, know that Jesus has already won the victory. You are not fighting for victory, you are fighting from victory. I want to challenge you today: do not let fear hold you back. Fear is a liar. It tells you that you cannot, that you will not, and that God will not. But the Bible says in 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Walk boldly into 2025, knowing that your help is coming and that nothing can stop what God has ordained. If you are feeling unworthy or disqualified, let me remind you of this: God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Look at Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times. Yet, after the resurrection, Jesus restored him and used him mightily. God's grace is greater than your mistakes. His love is greater than your failures. As you step into 2025, I want you to declare this over your life: God is my refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalm chapter 46 verse 1. Speak it until you believe it. Speak it until your situation aligns with it. Speak it until every lie of the enemy is silenced. My dear friend, this is your year of help. This is your year of breakthrough. This is your year of restoration. Hold onto the promises of God with everything you have. Pray like you have never prayed. Worship like you have never worshipped. And believe like you have never believed. If this message has spoken to your heart, I invite you to share it with someone who needs encouragement. Subscribe to this channel or page, like this post, and leave a comment about what you are believing God for in 2025. Let us build a community of faith and hope. And do not forget to come back for more messages that will inspire, uplift, and strengthen you. God bless you abundantly. Help is on the way.